This is reposted.
Today we're going to keep it in the family. This quote is generally uncredited, but I found it being associated with the founder of the Keller Williams real estate agency, Gary Keller.
Uncle Gary.
He says anyone can do it, but not everyone will do it. I feel like you're going to claim this is a bingo square for me, but I think it's true. You can do it. You can open a restaurant if you want, Larry. You just probably won't.
Is Uncle Gary a nice guy to be around Thanksgiving?
He's a great guy to be around Thanksgiving. He actually just recently stepped down from being the CEO of Keller Williams, and he's going to focus more on his podcast.
I believe he used this quote to tell people why they should buy real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's sort of like he's basically saying, like, if you don't buy real estate, somebody else is gonna. So it might as well be you. Go buy some real estate.
I don't think he's saying that. He's saying if you want to buy real estate, you can do it. Just most people won't. Like, I think that's anything. You can do anything you want. You just probably won't because you have to make choices and you have to sacrifice. So it's what your priorities are.
This is definitely a bingo square, but here's how I thought about it, because this statistic immediately jumped to me when I read this quote. If you're a church type person, you go to church, let's say there's 100 people there, only 20 people actually tithe to the church.
Uh-huh.
All people that go, 80% don't give any money. And that's also true for the amount of work that gets done. 80% don't do anything at a church. All of the work is done by 20%.
Who give 10%.
Yeah. So it's really funny how, and I use church because they've done statistics on that, but that's probably true in any service organization or anything you usually belong to. It's 20% of the people doing the work for 80%.
Uh-huh.
So there's very few people that are actually doing the work in anything you go to in life.
Right. Well, anyone can tithe, but most people won't.
And that's why I connected it to this quote. I mean, it's funny. I go to a church, and typically speaking, I volunteer a little bit because I feel like, well, if my kids go to Sunday school, there should be someone teaching Sunday school. That's like a volunteer thing. But it's amazing how many people go to a church and don't do anything, even though they're getting lots of services.
Yeah, I guess I say this all the time. Most people just are happy being complacent and complaining about the situation they're in. Like, I feel like, to me, this most rings true with starting a business or changing careers. Like, you just probably won't because it's going to be hard, or it's going to be uncomfortable, or you don't like change.
And once again, I think when we talk about subjects like this, like, I don't, whether you change jobs or you don't, or whether you don't help a church or you don't, it's always the people that like complain about their job and never change. That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess it's what you say you can do. And this also makes me think about, like, there's so many YouTube videos. I think Dude Perfect does stuff like this. Like, you think some stuff is impossible, but the human will is can be unbreakable, and then crazy things can be achieved.
I love that you use Dude Perfect as the example.
I know Dude Perfect is your favorite YouTube channel, so I wanted to make you happy.
Those guys have so many world records.
They do. I don't know. I told myself when I moved to Los Angeles, I'm going to learn how to surf. And I went out 3 days a week for 6 months, and I got in a fight with the ocean every time, and I lost. And then I gave up. So I could do it. Everyone won't necessarily do it. Maybe I don't have a point. I'm searching for a point.
I feel like this is the crux of me and you, right? Because I would say, hey, universe, what do you want me to do? Was yours like, I live in Southern California. I got to go learn how to surf. Whereas I would sit on the beach and be like, hey, universe, what do you want me? Do you want me to be a rollerblader?
Right.
Do you want me to be a windsurfer? Like, what do you want me? Where do you want me?
Yeah, I mean, that might be a part of it for you or for other people, is waiting for a sign to do something versus feeling your desire. Like, maybe the universe is your desire to want to rollerblade, and you don't wait for someone to hand you a pair of rollerblades.
No, I say this all the time, and I don't know if you get sick of me saying this, so it's definitely a bingo score, but you and my wife are a lot alike, right? When she goes into a situation, like, for instance, like, we join a soccer team, she immediately is like, I'm going to be the soccer mom. Like, she looks around, nobody raised their hand, I'm going to soccer mom. She goes to church, like, looks around, oh, nobody's going to volunteer to be the Sunday school. I'm going to like, she's just like, she doesn't wait. She just like, boom, I'm going to do it. Whereas I go like, hey, let's take a second and see if somebody else, no, I'm doing it. Like, I'm volunteering, I'm doing it, I'm happening.
Yeah, I think we are similar, but we are fundamentally also different. But that makes me think of nothing worse for me than there's like a group of more than 3 people, and someone says, "Who's going to volunteer to do this?" And I'll tell myself going in, "Don't raise your hand." But I can't sit. I can't sit in this
Exactly. Exactly. That's you and her. That's the same thing. You both can't do it.
Right. And meanwhile, you're sitting next to me going, maybe Jonathan has some rollerblades he's looking to get rid of. Like, I'm like, why isn't anyone talking?
I'm definitely daydreaming for sure because I hate meetings. But what I would typically do in that circumstance, right, is like if nobody said anything, I would email the leader offline to be like, hey, didn't want to speak up, want to give other people a chance to get into it. But hey, if it needs to be done, totally will be willing to do it. But I want to, like, I feel like sometimes with my questions, I like bombard people and I don't give a little bit of room there. Like what I'm trying to do in my life is like give people room. Maybe there's some mom who never volunteered and really wanted to, but then you jumped on her because you're like, I'm going to do it first because you couldn't handle the silence. I want to give a little bit of a silence for people to step in if they want.
Right. Well, I guess my take on this quote, I guess we've had this breakthrough before. Everyone's going to view stuff differently. The way this quote lands on me is you can do it. You just have some things change. Like in construction, you have 3 things. You have the budget, you have the design, and you have the timeline. All 3 can't be static. Like if you want one thing, you have to compromise in the other. So you can do anything, but you have to be flexible in other aspects of your life.
And what I've learned is that anybody can surf, Andrew. Anybody can go in the water and surf. Anybody can do that, but you're going to make yourself miserable. Some people will make themselves miserable. Why not take a couple of seconds to be like, hey, maybe I'm not a surfer.
Yeah, I guess maybe not. Well, if you want to head to Malibu this weekend, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Laird Hamilton saying, thanks for stopping by.